Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to GB Gaming. You're joining Bane once again with the New Horizons developers to show you their latest version, and I am joined, as I said, by them today, and I'm joined by who today?
You got Warshippers here, how's it going?
Very good to have you, sir, very good to have you. And we also have...
Hi, Shago Bot here.
Shago's there, good to see you. I've missed you guys, I've got to be honest. And then we also
have a newcomer, Janik.
Janik, nice to meet you, Janik. What do you do, Janik, in the mod?
Variety of things. I originally did the, was it 0.8 tech tree yeah, so it was original tech tree from 0.8 alpha, and then gone from everything, just branched out from there. Right,
okay. So you're getting involved in a lot of code, I guess, really. That's the best way to describe it. Coding.
Yes.
Lots of coding.
Lots and lots of lines of codes.
I know that feeling. And of course we're joined by another one of our previous developers, Harel, I believe.
Hi there, how's everybody?
I'm good. I'm hoping the subscribers are good as well. They've been telling me off, I've got to say, guys. They're telling me, one, that I'm useless at Solaris, and two, that I shouldn't have freed the Remans as the Romulans, and I should have punished and purged everybody, but I didn't. So I've been getting lots of flack.
Usually more of a good thing to do with the Remans.
I did have them for slaves for quite a long time, but then I kept getting pressure from the Federation, you see, who's being played by another friend of mine, Zermi. And he was really unhappy with me for a while because thanks to your lovely mechanic where I get to sneakily blow up ships, I kind of blew up the Enterprise. And then he wasn't happy with me. So as our relationship soured, he put the impression on me that we'd be better if I was not to be such a malicious kind of enslaving douchebag.
What kind of Romulan is that?
I was like, but that's not very Romulan. So there was a lot of that. It was good fun. But we're still carrying on that series. I'm hoping, obviously, with this new version now, we can get a Borg series out as well, because it's really exciting. So and that's what we're here to kind of have a look at today, is you guys have added the Borg. That must have been a lot of work.
And you can see the sphere moving across your screen right now.
Look at it. It's there. It's there.
It's crazy. I mean, the amount of work that went into getting that one species to a state that we're happy with, it's crazy. And I guess, we've added so many other empires to the game, sort of minor ones. All of them have one thing in common, which is that they can generally have almost almost interchangeable events there. So with the Borg, the entire style of communication is completely different. The ships are supposed to be more powerful, the technologies are different, you've got unique mechanics around assimilation rather than colonization. So getting all of that ready, we had a lot of stuff kind of done for quite a while. So we had the assimilation mechanic kind of done since we added them into the game as a non-playable race.
Yeah.
But again, we had to do a lot of work there to get that into a state that we were happy with and to make it work for the player as well as the AI. Lots of approaches we tested there, which didn't quite pan out, so we had to sort of reverse course, and in the end we came up with something which I think is actually really pretty cool in terms of sort of player engagement. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of work that went into that across all of the sort of disciplines and the mod, so the modeling, sound effects, the technology tree around it, or traits. Scripting and eventing, but yeah, I mean, we focused this update, we're calling it Assimilation, the first of a sort of series of updates for the beta run, I guess that we're calling it. It is entirely focused on the Borg, but it's not just the Borg in this update. We've added the foundation for the mirror universe and how we're going to handle that, and we've included a couple of pretty cool new maps, which basically enable us to do almost a scenario mode now.
Yeah.
So you have both the Mirror Universe maps and a Birth of the Federation tribute map, which I think it looks hilarious, and I think it's amazing how well it manages to play, despite the fact that it's just a big grid. So our map guy, Asito, who can be here this afternoon, he did a fantastic job on that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Really did.
Yeah. But the Borg are the focus of this, and I think that's what the majority of players, the two biggest requests we got were Borg and Terran Empire. So
Yeah, well, I can understand why people want to play, but people just want to crush the Federation. Yeah. I don't know why people want to see the Federation burn, but I guess there's that dark side within us all. For those that haven't played Stellaris before, obviously I have, but for those of my subs that have played Stellaris before, obviously this is the race selection screen. We've seen that you've got a fantastic, I mean, and you mentioned it, a fantastic amount of races you can choose. But can you just run us through, guys, what's the value of this area for those that are not familiar with Stellaris, and what you've done specifically for the Borg that's really quite special here? So I'm noticing they've got lots of traits, for example, that are quite unique to them, shall we say?
Yeah, this is common for Harold to go for, I think. He sort of built a lot of the traits and the civics here, so...
Yeah, well, we really tried for the beta, not just for the Borg, but really for most species. I mean, you could go through United Earth and Klingons and Romulans. Almost all of them have their own unique civics and unique traits and unique governments. For example, the Federal Republic for United Earth. We really try to have a little more, even if it's just fluff. Yeah. Even if it's just for a little more kick of realism. Sometimes they even give really unique advantages that aren't in anything else. For example, humans get survey bonus and unity bonuses. That really does change their gameplay in a very unique way, I think. For the Borg, you know, it's pretty much what you expect. The Assimilator civic, basically a footnote to explain the unique mechanics that behind them. The Borg can't colonize, but they can assimilate. They can build huge megastructures. So we really try to make them interesting. They are very, very powerful, but they're not overwhelmingly so. There's still ways we can even make them more powerful. Some players do want that. Yeah. But I do think that they play in a very interesting way that no one has ever experienced in Stellaris and in New Horizons yet.
So they obviously focus around not having any diplomacy whatsoever. So I noticed that they, for example, can't have rivalries. So because why would the Borg have any rival at all? They wouldn't, would they? They have rivals.
No rivalries and almost no innate unity production. They do get tons of unity and research from Assimilation, which again is one of their unique mechanics. I mean, basically, when you think about it, every species they assimilate brings them closer to perfection, and that ties very well.
Unless it's species 8472, right? That's when the case. I suppose that's a rivalry in itself, isn't it? So they're fanatic militarists as well. So they have a lot of army damage, a lot of fire rate, and they're very strong, which is also helpful. So, as you would expect from Borg, if you've ever watched the series, you'll know that Borg are incredibly strong, and also have the ability to adapt themselves and generate shields to block phaser fire. So I'm sure everyone knew that. You guys definitely knew that. So we have cutting beams now, I noticed as well. So
that was one of the changes we made with the technology tree, where we split out some of the starting weapons that we did have things like Andorian phasers, Vulcan phasers. What we actually did was we went back and we split out a lot of these sort of early game technologies into new starting weapons, which allow us to have sort of new progression paths. For the Borg, it's most pronounced because it's so different. But if you select the Andorians or the Vulcans, you'll see they've got their own starting weapon types now. So particle phasers for Vulcans. The Andorians have I forget the name of it. Coefficients. So we that was part of the tech tree revamp, which sort of Harold sort of led on sort of that front. So that what it enables us to do is, with some new sort of features and approaches that have sort of been worked into the mod by Paradox over the sort of last couple of updates, we can kind of provide a not a unique tech tree, but a tech tree that is very different for specific species. And the Borg are the most obvious example of this, where they have the most correct me if I'm wrong, they have the most unique techs components available. So they even get their unique ship sets as well. So while it's difficult to replace the starting ship, actually the sizes beyond the starting ship are completely unique for Borg, and they have some really cool super ships that are sort of super end game. So the cube, the tactical cube, and if you get far enough, the mega cube, what do you call it?
Oh, mega cube or fusion cube or
Yeah.
super cube. We have so many different names for it.
You're actually on a screen now. Sorry, I'm seeing it here.
Yeah.
A screen which is completely different from vanilla in so many ways. So vanilla almost doesn't have any capacity for presenting scenarios.
Yes.
The base game is built around sort of random galaxies and sort of unique experiences every time. Whereas for Star Trek mod, we want to be able to provide a scenario-based sort of system for players. So we do have several random galaxies. What you probably notice is the screen now displays some descriptions, some additional localization that describe each of these maps. And that was one thing we found with the previous approach that we had, where you just had a name and you're trying to condense everything into that name, and it just didn't fit. So with some really clever UI work from our guys, some clever localization work from the localization team, I just think this looks amazing. And to be honest, I would be very surprised if Paradox didn't implement something similar if they ever brought in a scenario system.
Maybe they'll hire you guys. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Get paid for it. I noticed, and also because we've got the Borg UI mod that I've downloaded here, you've got the nice little Borg touches. Just on, I like little features like that. I'm very sad, but I think players like to see those kind of cool little graphics and that. So. So apparently this is one epic map. So I know we're not going to obviously finish a game of Star Trek, but we'll just choose the Milky Way galaxy.
Well, you've got a couple of options here if you're playing the Borg. We don't stop players from selecting any maps. We kind of warn them if they've selected a race that doesn't really fit in that area. So the Delta Quadrant, our map guy Osito, I think he did a really good job of. He's kind of followed the Voyager.
Path.
Yeah, it looks amazing in my view.
Yeah.
So
he did
I
a great job.
Should we do this one then?
Yeah.
Let's do the Delta Quadrant then. Okay, I'm just gonna hit play unless you guys want me to change anything else. Or are you happy with that?
No, I think it's good.
Let's go. Exciting stuff. Oh, well, there's a famous ship just in loading. So, we're in already. Wow, this is very different. I am already amazed. It looks so different. I don't even know where to begin. So, perfection is within our grasp. Our numbers swell and more voices are added to the chorus, each one in harmony with all others. We have left behind discord, pain and hardship, and as we spread across the stars, we've been peace and everlasting serenity to all. Yeah, right. These are, there are those that struggle, narrow-minded against our glory, yet even those that resist futilely eventually see the wisdom of our great shared vision. An eternal galactic collective, in harmony within and without, basking in the light of Omega. This is the task we all share. There you go. So
what's interesting about this intro screen is that basically we have the mirror universe as well, and all of them have different visions, and some of them, haven't really been explored either in alpha canon or beta. Canon. So, for example, the Borg Collective, if you'd go for the Mirror Universe, they'll have something a lot more combative, because the Mirror version of the Borg is basically more fanatical purifiers than assimilators. And it's kind of little bits that we hide in the intro screens as well.
The Romulans in the movie.
Yeah, we have quite a few interesting perspectives and takes. Really happy what we did with the Trill, for example, but I'll let the players discover that as they play.
Well, I'm just phenomenally impressed by what I'm starting with here. What is this?
So the Unicomplex, this is a crazy amount of coding here that went into making this work the way it should do, actually. But at its foundation, it's an expansion of the habitat system and the megastructure system from vanilla, obviously with some really cool Borg designs that our 3D guy Grinsel, who was in here today, he did a great job on these. So the concept really is that the Unicomplex, you can build up to 3 of them as the Borg. They can be expanded from 1 to 5 sections each, so eventually you can have 15 sort of planet equivalents. You start the game with a pretty decent chunk of these tiles filled and pretty decent population, but they can be expanded via the Unicomplex expansion location, which is in the bottom of your screen, I think, at the moment. You can see it's basically a mega structure at the base there. I think you scroll down a little bit, you'll see it, or rotate around.
There you go. Yeah, got it. Oh yeah, so, there's the upgrade. It's a lot of crystal.
Yep, so it is a lot of crystal. So once that's achieved, you can expand it and you'll get a new planet out of it, with some tile blockers that sort of need to be removed. And again, each of these will spawn their own suite of Unicomplex defense stations. So you'll see you've got some 6.4K stations there. If they're destroyed, then every I think it's about a year on average, you have to wait. As long as there's no combat in the system, they'll be replaced for free. So they're kind of this sort of guardian for you there. That's essentially it. You've got the star base there, which is pretty cool. You've got your science vessels, your starting offensive assets. That is how the game starts for the Borg.
I'm pretty excited. I feel like I'm ready to go out and assimilate things. I just think the UI as well is really well done, and I've just noticed. Go away, Key. Go away. No, we don't need you or your mineral. So I was just looking there. In fact, I will pause it again. At the surface. So this is pretty insane already. Fully filled and fully raring to go. So Astro mining bays. We got out. Station fusion power generator. Obviously, the version I'm playing, I'm used to seeing something very, very different. So this is all new to me.
So we decided to expand upon something that Vanilla did with habitats, where they've got unique building types for different types of planets. So ground planets will have a regular sort of building option for each tile. Habitats, which includes the Unicomplex, the Pseudoban helixes, and the Herogen Hunters Lodges, which are something we've added for the Herogen, representing their nomadic nature. They use sort of a habitat type buildings, which are these consoles. And we also have another class of building for star bases, or deep space stations rather, which are mega structures that the Federation and other species can build to basically be beefed up outposts. And Harold can go into detail on what we did for star bases with this update.
Yeah, well, star bases originally, I'm guessing you're them, Bane. There used to be like, let's say, one tile planet with a star base on them.
That's right. Yeah.
What we've done now that certain tradition paths allow you to expand your deep space station. So first of all, they can have multiple tiles that you can expand, and then they can carry up to 3 populations. But that also gives you some room for unique buildings that are very geared toward the deep space station. So they can either increase your borders, increase your ship production capability. So deep space stations can become very useful and very, very specific. So they can be like your ship production hub. They can also produce a variety of goods, trade goods. They can be some of the best place to produce the species unique trade goods there is. There's also unique mechanical prosperity that isn't very relevant for the Borg, but basically allows you cheaper access to living standards. And deep space stations can build promenade naturally, and those generate a lot of prosperity as well.
Yeah. Okay. And
happiness is irrelevant.
Happiness is no one wants. What is that about? So can we obviously I've been playing the Romulans. There's a lot of unique research in there. Have you added a lot of specific research for the Borg, for example?
I would say about there's something like 300 unique texts for the Borg. Something like a quarter of all the new tech tree is unique Borg specific. They have their own transwarp engines. They have, because they don't have typical shields, they have subspace deflectors. They have their own computers, many of utilities that exist for other species. The Borg have their own unique weapons. Really, the list is huge.
Yeah.
We even had a very annoying bug during beta testing. That because we were trying to spread out, a lot of players have this complaint that you can rush certain technologies too fast. So we try to, spread it out over more tiers and more years.
Yeah.
And we found something very annoying that I'm not sure Paradox is aware. There's a limit that requires you to research X number of technologies before you can move to the next tier. It's supposed to be just a random number of, X number of texts, regardless of level and everything, but apparently you need to research them in the correct field too. So you need, if it's 5, you need 5 physics before you can move to physics tier 2, and so on and so on. And it ended up that we had to add huge amount of stuff for the Borg because Borg can't research a lot of other things that are unique to others. They won't research education, they won't research hospitals or typical terraforming methods. So we had to go and just reinvent the Borg tech tree entirely so it wouldn't get stuck.
I just noticed we chose one. I'll just grab one here. Well, we'll go back to this one. That there was a nice little bit of blurb as well there. I don't know who had their hand in writing all this. I would like to know.
That's part of our very large, very valuable localization team.
It looks awesome.
So Zumu sort of heads up that area. He couldn't make it today, actually, which is unfortunate. But again, it's crazy.
40 guys.
There's a lot of people there. Obviously, not everyone is has as much time as everyone else, but the amount of localization that's been added in beta throughout the entire mod. I mean, I'm gonna load up my localization folder now and just to see how big it is.
We have over 400,000 words.
Yeah,
that's a lot. That is a lot.
That's several novels worth of text.
Yeah, absolutely. It's ridiculous. So our localization for Star Trek New Horizons is basically the same file size as the vanilla Paradox localization at the moment.
Yeah.
Which I think is absolutely crazy. But yeah, they do a great job there, and overseeing that and sort of maintaining sort of versioning and make sure it's up to date. So I think some people noticed with the very first update of the beta that some things were not quite right there, but the speed that those guys fixed that and so how they keep on top of it is absolutely amazing to me. It's so complicated now.
Okay, well, I've chosen my technologies. I'm going for clearing the tile blocker early on.
Yep.
Probably not the best, or maybe. Magnetometronic charge.
Let me show you something, because you said you like the little touches. Float over magnetic charge, the white text.
The white text?
Above. Yeah. So what you can see here, and we're adding this as we go along, is we have in-game fluff stats. They're meaningless, but they just add a little touch of realism. So you can see, like, for example, this is a torpedo, so you can see the explosive yield in isoton, and you have weapons that'll have output values in megajoules, and you'll have for shields, you'll have maximum speed in sublight engines and warp factors and warp factors in warp engines, and a lot of little tidbits like that hiding in the descriptions of almost every component and weapon.
Which I think is nice as well. No, I think that's. I was just going to say, I think that's nice because a lot of people love those kind of smaller details, and I think that kind of flavour really adds to a mod, especially a total conversion mod. So I think that's great that you guys are doing that.
And you may notice that the all of your leaders have a certain unique trait there. So there is still some work that we want to do here to make the other traits that are available to those leaders to be a bit more consistent with the Borg. But you see the little Picard round icon. So they've all got the assimilated traits there, which basically is it's a flag for certain actions that work against certain leaders.
Yep. So this one's maniacal as well.
But you can see what I mean when we say we still have a little bit of work to update there.
But it's cool though. It's very cool. I like the little Picard icon there. So, yeah. I think I'm impressed so far. Adaptive armor. I don't know. It's all very. I tend to see weapons and just go yummy. You know.
So for Borg players, you may notice if you hover over your research icons at the top, the little physics icon in the middle.
Which one here? Oh, this one here. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah. So you notice you have quite a lot stored when you start the game. This is a little boost we give the Borg. It's mostly for the AI, but it's also for players as well. Where you get a good chunk of it at the start, so you do sort of jumpstart some of the early sort of technologies. But you'll notice that the first couple of techs you have will go pretty fast, and then sort of go down to a nice steady cadence.
Nice.
But that's good for keeping the Borg competitive in multiplayer. When you're playing against them rather than as them.
Yeah. So in terms of, before we go too far on, in terms of like the models then, because I haven't really asked about this. This is again, I'm going back to this. This is fantastic. Where did it come from? Who did it? Who's responsible for this?
Well, Shago's pretty good to explain where these came from. So I'll let him.
Actually, all of these are made by our team, and so I don't know if you've seen the beta trailer.
I have. I was very impressed. I was very excited. I was giggling like a little schoolgirl, to be honest with you, about it. So
yeah, it was a lot of work, and we actually back then, half a year ago, we started modeling the Borg ships. And the Unimatrix, for example, it's made with Houdini, like procedural modeling, which worked really, really good. And we also have a new lighting system, which you can see if you double click on a sphere, not a sphere, a probe.
Where are they? Are they up here? Can I see them? There you go. Ta-da.
Yeah, and then if you move the camera, you see that the lights, they are like there's two layers of textures, and no, actually it's two layers of models. So you have inside you have a sun.
Yeah.
And that gives a really, really cool lighting effect.
It's a model in a model. And it looks really cool as well. Look at that. You get that kind of glow as you're panning the camera around and that shimmery space. I'm imagining this is going to be very scary when a Borg cube turns up.
Well, the cool thing about this is how we've done it. It made it very easy for us to create variants for the various sort of Borg factions that can emerge throughout the game.
Yeah.
So the Borg Cooperative, Unimatrix Zero, they all get their own unique sort of color scheme, which is pretty cool. The Mirror Universe Borg, they have an orange color scheme, for instance, and it's very nice to be able to sort of use that approach to basically get all those sort of variants for almost for free.
Yeah. And look at, I'm just showing guys really off. You can see that again on these ships. The beautiful work there and texture work as always by the team. So I'm sure you guys are really chuffed with this release already. I think I'm getting that feeling. It's gone really well so far as a release.
Yes, surprisingly. Oh, that's a little log thing I need to note. Surprisingly, I think it's our smoothest release so far.
Excellent, excellent. Obviously, we're not going to play through too much today because we've got a very short amount of time. In fact, we're coming very close to the end. I've just noted of our time with you today. But for players that are coming back to the mod that may have not been in the mod recently, what should their focus be on? Obviously, we're talking about the Borg here, but what other features should they be looking out for in Assimilation specifically that you guys are really excited about?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I mentioned before the mirror universe. A lot of time and effort went into that by a developer on our team, username Pleb. He did a great job creating some really cool early events for the Mirror Terra universe. Sorry, Terra Empire.
Yeah.
With some cool variants for if you played Vulcans, Andorians, whatever, where you played a rebellion rather than the Terran Empire itself. Some stuff for the Klingon Cardassian alliance to spring up. Some late game stuff again with the Mirror Universe version of the very first Mirror Universe episode, which is pretty cool. So yeah, the Mirror Universe is it's in a good starting position now, and we will come back to it and we'll expand that with future versions. Beyond that, we added a couple of new races. So the Vidians were added with the initial beta update, and they've got a cool, unique phage event chain where they start off infected and ugly looking, and as you go through, you get the opportunity to eventually research a cure to the phage, which will convert them into their pre-phage state, and have some cool little sort of opinion benefits there as a result.
Nice.
They also have their own unique ship sets, which is based off of the ships from the show. So that's cool. We've done some reworks for some of the ship sets for Folians, the generic set, the Kazons, and some of the others. They came out quite well. We also just added, I think it got included in the hotfix, some stuff that we didn't manage to get with the very first beta update. So we have an inter-species medical exchange mechanic, which is for basically any alpha beta quadrant species, but in practice it'll go to the Vulcans first, where you can exchange medical personnel between empires for an opinion boost. So it's a good way for players to get Vulcan doctors if they're human, or vice versa. And we added the Kabali, species as well, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I just say, get stuck in. There's a lot of really cool techs. We added hangars, which we hadn't included for the majority of the mod's sort of lifespan. So they'll be expanded and improved upon over time as well. A bunch of really cool events, really cool flavor stuff. Yeah, I mean, guys, do you have anything to sort of chip in?
Yeah, I think that one thing that we did add, I mentioned the prosperity side before. You also have unique policies that you can make decisions about your education and welfare and healthcare of your people. Really, deal more with the social aspects of Empire management that I think Stellaris was lacking and a lot of players were asking for. This is also very early stage. I mean, I'm certainly hoping that in time we'll tie this into the faction mechanics, so different factions will have different opinions about the policies and direction your empire should take, and in time we'll add more policies and more decision trees, so managing your empire will really be more interesting.
And yeah, I mean, going back to the policy stuff, we added a bunch of stuff for players to react to the Borg, which is pretty cool. So you have a de-assimilation policy now for a non-Borg species, which allows you to choose how you want to get rid of drones should you capture a planet. So you have a bunch of options there, which are, they're not Borg specific, but they are in reaction to the Borg. Yeah.
Awesome. So, guys, I think I just want to play Borg now. So, I want to thank you guys for joining me in this. I know the thing is, it's actually been like nearly an hour. We've been talking, and it just always feels that it goes really quickly when I chat to you guys. It never feels like enough time. I got to be honest.
Well, we're always here.
You certainly are, but you're very busy, so I don't like to disturb you guys too much. But I think we need to. I think what we should try and do is try and get you guys. I think we said it last time. Try and get you guys on a live stream sometime, so we can get New Horizons fans. And if you guys out there watching are New Horizons fans, please do leave some comments saying what you think of Assimilation. Do download Assimilation. The links I will put in the description as well. You guys should already know where it is by now, to be honest, if you've been watching any of my series whatsoever. And get it and download it and play it and feed back to the guys as well. There is also, which I will also try and remember because I failed to do this last time, there is also a Discord group for New Horizons. So guys, please, if you're either on GB or you're part of Corey Loses, go join their Discord as well. Join in the conversation there and give the guys some feedback. But yeah, I want to thank you once again, guys, for joining me. It's been a pleasure.
It's been great.
Our pleasure too, mate.
All right, well, guys, we'll see you soon in another episode of Star Trek New Horizons. This is Bane, as always, signing out.